Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Alan Dunigian. I'm Marketing Manager here at CyberData in Monterey, California. On with me is my partner in crime, Dan Marchetto. Dan is our Director of VoIP Sales, and he's based in Illinois. You can reach out to either one of us. What I hope you will take away from this is not just a CyberData company and product overview, but to get to know us a little bit and understand that customer service is #1 for us. So we're going to go into it, and thank you for coming. We'll start with a little bit of history. CyberData started in 1974. We actually started on the retail point of sale side. We made these little legacy modules that would go into printers that would talk to the cash drawers. This was in the 70s. So we had a lot of partners with names that are very recognizable still out there in the market, Epson and HP and those guys. We still do custom work. We did something for Bed Bath & Beyond. We've done work for Home Depot. So we're still in that market, but then about 15 years ago, we started getting into VoIP. And 888 VoIP was our first partner in VoIP sales. If this was the Wizard of Oz, 888 VoIP would be our scarecrow. So thank you very much for your partnership. We very much appreciate it. We are based here in Monterey. Our production facility is in Monterey. RMA, tech support, engineering is based in Monterey. Currently, in the pandemic, we've got a lot of people working from home. I have to say this company has done a fantastic job, because as soon as that first weekend in March, when things started coming down, we started instituting new policies and safety procedures. So a lot of our staff are working from home. I come into the office, but we've had no interruption of service. You should know that we are TAA compliant. So all of our SIP, Informacast, and Synapse-enabled devices sell with confidence. We've sold into the government before. We've actually sold directly into the White House. We did a custom version of our office ringer that is sitting on many desks right now in the White House Communications Office. So feel confident, we are TAA compliant, and customer service is a top priority for us. We're going to go over our line of SIP-enabled products for unified communication that covers IP to analog endpoints, paging endpoints like speakers, office ringers. We've got intercoms, two-way communication. We've also got notification endpoints, things like call buttons and strobes. And then we started doing secure access control endpoints. So we're not going after the enterprise market. These are for the SMB market, and they include keypad and RFID access, along with intercom and video options as well. And then we've got pass-through PoE technology. These are mainly splitters and port mirroring switches to monitor the traffic on a network. And let's see, so we're going to start with the IP to analog endpoints. The zone controller, the SIP paging server, and the SIP paging adapter. This is for, you've got a reseller that says, hey, I've got a client that, I just sold them on a Ring Central or Intermedia, or they're using, they just did a Vodia, MS Teams integration, and they're not ready to go to SIP. They've got these analog amplifiers and speakers, and they want to hold on to them now. They're just not ready to go full on SIP. Well, these three devices can help in that situation. They're kind of gateways. So they will allow a user to page to that existing analog equipment. The zone controller is kind of the Cinderella of the group. It works in a very specific setting. And the setting recently was a local college. They had gone full on SIP to the rest of the college. And they had this one old building, it's 4 floors, dorms, and they're only like at 25% occupancy. So there were also some people on site, and they've got these old Bogan amplifiers and speakers. And so this little device registers, gets set up right in the little network room there. And from each one of these lines that can wire up to Bogan amps and speakers for those floors. And then they can just do a page, hey guys, it's okay to come down to the dining room, floor 3 can report to the dining room. The SIP paging server is great because that works for a situation like, oh, I've got this Bogan analog equipment, but yeah, I know I'm going to go over to SIP and I know I'm going to want to do a little bit more. This device is great. This can do scheduling of announcements. It can push safety notifications and reminders. It can do zone paging. It can page to analog, but it can also page to SIP. So this little device has got a lot of great features and it's a very popular device. And then this one is just a workhorse, the SIP paging adapter. This works in a majority of analog settings. If you're not sure, if you have a reseller or the reseller has a client and they've got equipment and you go to our website right here and you don't see that manufacturer on there, please call us. I've got an interop team and that's all they do is they go out and they research not just for the PBX compatibility, but also analog amplifier compatibility. So if you don't see it, call us. But I do want to let you know, we are, as a company, we are known for our documentation. So there is a lot of documentation on our website. And you can go to this website and pull up, and you won't just get the list of, oh, okay, I see you got the Bogan TPU. Yeah, that works with the SIP paging adapter. But guess what? There's a little icon. You can click on that. It's going to open up a new web page. You're going to get a wiring diagram. So we don't just tell you, yeah, it works. We show you how it works and how to wire it, how to set it up. So like I said, you see IP to analog in settings in schools, manufacturing, warehouses, where I've got an old Valcom. Yes, I've gone to VoIP. I still want to be able to use that stuff. We've got a bunch of different wiring diagrams and we can show you how to do it. But here I'm just showing you a use case scenario. This was someone where they had a Valcom and we used actually the SIP paging adapter in this setting. So again, you can find this information under connecting to IP analog amplifiers, and then also you can also check our connecting to IP PBX servers as well. A lot of documentation in terms of compatibility. We're going to go over the SIP and multicast paging and mass notification, and then into intercoms and access control. We came out with a line of multicast speakers. These are really economical. So if you've got a customer and they're like really being cost conscious, they've got a set budget, they don't need anything fancy. Usually just pick up the phone and it's a page all. These little guys, ceiling mount and wall mount, are great. They retail for $255. So any system that can receive multicast, that's what these devices. You can pick up the phone and it just does a multicast, one to all at the same time, page all, get your page and you're done. For settings where they need a little bit more, we've got SIP, one-way, and Talkback speakers. Talkback is popular in classrooms. So these can be wall and ceiling mounted. We've also got a 2x2 ceiling tile drop-in option. Something like a SIP speaker, what's the difference? Well, from the SIP speaker, I can run an auxiliary analog strobe to give visual notification, or another auxiliary analog speaker, which looks just like this one, that can increase the coverage. So I could put one of these in a classroom and run from here one auxiliary analog into the hallway. And so it increases the coverage. It's a little bit more economical than just going full on SIP all over the place. And so it also comes in a talkback function. In a classroom, a principal could pick up the phone and dial right to this speaker and just, now we know the kids aren't in class right now, but pick up and just dial right to the speaker and say, hey, Mrs. Jones, can you send Davey down to the office? From the classroom, we have a little remote control button where the teacher can also initiate a call. So the SIP speakers are great. There's a little more oomph there, a lot more coverage coverage for the multicast speakers about 750 to a little over 1,000 square feet. Our regular SIP speakers are good for about 1,500 to 2,000 square feet. And then we've got strobes, indoor and outdoor. This is great for, like I said, visual notification. These meet ADA compliance. So if you're in a situation where you have to be able to meet the compliance for ADA, meaning, you know, visual notification, these strobes meet that. We've also got call buttons and office ringers. Call button is a great little device. This device, and we see this also in settings like under a desk, you know, discrete settings. This little device, you can press that button and it can simultaneously place a SIP call out, and that SIP call can be to an extension that you set up, and play a stored audio message while also multicasting out to any device that can receive multicast. So in an emergency setting, this little device is a great option. We've also seen this in nursing care facilities. So we start to see that become popular this year. The office ringer, think of that as like a little speaker. We've got that in our office, and when the sales line rings, you know, if we're all doing other things, we can hear it on that little office ring. It's not as loud as a speaker, but you can also page to it. And then we're starting to see these become popular. There's a little multicast microphone. Press the button, page all, get a page out as soon as possible. We do a lot of design services, which I'll get into in a little bit, and this is becoming more popular. Indoor, now we've got outdoor. Now this little device, the little SIP IP66 horn, has got a lot of power and it's very popular. It's really easy to set up. It's just a Cat5 cable from the device to a PoE switch. Like all of these, it's all PoE Cat5 cabling. It's got a second extension. So in addition to being able to do a live page, you can set it up to be a loud ringer or a night ringer. These devices, you can do that too. But in this setting, it works for indoors and outdoors, and it works really well for a warehouse. In the warehouse, they can get a page. Then they could also know if, you know, someone was calling in from the outside, you know, calling in on the line, and this will allow them, oh, you know, there's a phone call coming in. These devices, the paging and the loudspeaker amplifiers, they do the same thing as the IP66 horn. However, a little bit more to the wiring and the setup. Again, Cat5 or Cat6 cabling to a PoE switch. But these little guys are little auxiliary horns, and you can connect either one or two. And why is that important? If I've got a warehouse that's maybe 10,000 square feet, this one's only gonna, this horn is gonna cover about 4,000 to 5,000 square feet, but one amplifier and two horns in 802.3 AT high power can cover about 10,000 square feet. And you can place them bi-directionally. So if you have a long warehouse, your better bet is to do one of these, and you can place these horns so that they're facing opposite directions for more coverage. People love this device because it's so easy to set up, a little bit more work, but this device can also, you can also connect an auxiliary strobe for visual notification, which in the warehouse is sometimes pretty important. This device, I will tell you, the single wire company, they make Informacast. They awarded the Informacast version of this horn as Loud Horn of the Year for 2019 and 2020. And then we've got outdoor versions of the call button and the strobe that are pointed out earlier, and offering the same thing. However, these are IP66 rated. So then we have two-way communication and access control. Intercoms, Rfid, and we've got these industrial VoIP phones. Our intercoms are great little devices. Every one of these, again, it's all Cat5 cabling to a PoE switch, But any one of these can also receive a page. It's not just for two-way. This can be part of your ring group. So when there's an emergency and you want to get a message to every endpoint that's on the network, you can also page to these devices. We came out with the emergency intercom as a customized version for a very well-known, very large university in the Midwest. They had tried this device and they loved it, but they wanted it to stand out. And so they said, can you make it in red? And they ordered hundreds and hundreds of them. Because of that, it was like, well, you know, maybe other schools are going to want something like this as well. And so that's what allowed us to bring something like this to the market. As an aside, and I'm just going to remind you, if you guys ever hear of any kind of ideas from customers, if they see something that's like, oh, that's kind of, but could it be this way? Could you do this? Could it be customized? Give us a call. We are an OEM and we can customize. There are MPQs, but we're always interested in new ideas, new requirements from customers. So we've also got flush mount, one button, keypad, and we do the same for outdoors. The 011186 is our most popular outdoor intercom, but I will tell you that the video versions of these have become very popular this year. And I'm going to get into why in a little bit, but this allows for communication, two-way communication. If there's a video and if I'm on the inside, I can see someone and talk to them. And so we're seeing this in doctors' offices, doctors on duty, medical clinics, things like that. And then we've got our RFID access control for SMB. This does not require a huge security system with monthly fees. Very easy to set up. You can do keypad, just an RFID. This is great for, you know, your employees. This way, it also provides a timestamp of who's entering, who's exited. So these little devices are great for SMB, access control, but then you might have something like, well, I also want to know who's coming up to the door. I want to know who's visiting. And that's where we have the video option as well. The industrial phones, think oil rigs, tunnels, shipping ports. That's where these are very popular. Really hardened for very, very harsh environments. So a little use case scenario for the multicast speakers and mic for a school where budget is a concern, or SMB. You know, there is a lot of 20 and 30 employee SMBs where, you know, they need to page to everybody, but they don't need a whole huge system. The multicast speaker and even a multicast mic or a phone can give you the solution that I just need to do a page all. So for this setting, this was a school, multicast speakers in the hallways for coverage. In this setting, they wanted some SIP speakers in the classrooms, and they had a couple of horns that they wanted for outdoor. And this little microphone, they use that little microphone to push emergency notifications to all three, but they also have the SIP paging server set up. That SIP paging server pushes out, you know, the 5-minute warning bell or the lunch bell or, you know, end of school, things like that. Speakers and office ringers. So, and there this is in a little office environment. Again, like on the sales line, you can set these devices up so that the SIP speaker in particular has a second SIP extension for a ringer, but we also just have a ringer. So when sales line rings right to the office, to this little ringer, we can hear it pick up. End of you know, end of the page, end of the call. Tying in a SIP paging server again we really recommend this, especially for a zone. So you just when the sales line rings, you just want it going to this office ringer here. You don't need it to go to tech support's office because it's the sales line. The IP66 outdoor horn that I showed you earlier, that's becoming very, very popular. Like I said, it's very easy to set up. It's very, very powerful. we started seeing gas stations and drive-throughs, and they're wanting to push announcements like reminders for people. And one of the things that we hear is like people were, especially initially, using their gloves or their masks or whatever, and just like taking them off and throwing them on the ground. And this client in particular was like wanting to remind people that you're going to take off your masks and your gloves. Please make sure you throw them in the garbage receptacle. And again, it just pushes out safety reminders. So in this setting, they set them up at the pumps. Outside the store, they put a SIP speaker inside the store. They did not need something as powerful as the outdoor horn inside. But real simple, and again, using that SIP paging server because you can do these little timed announcements as well. The SIP call button. Yeah, so we started to see, after COVID, there was a lot of stuff going on with assisted living and nursing care, and people couldn't visit their family, and clients in this industry with nursing cares, assisted living facilities, they wanted something for their residents to be able to, press that button in case something happened. And it would make a call to the nurse station, but it would also play a little message over the multicast speakers that they had in the hallway. So again, it's a stored audio message. This can be set up to even call outside for, emergency services. But again, it's just another use case scenario of showing our devices in different settings. And it does come in an outdoor version. So for the folks that are more mobile and going outside, these were set up for outdoors as well. We also did something where we tied the call button and a strobe together. We did something first in meatpacking, and then this came up in dairy. In the dairies too, it's not all enclosed. These are indoor, outdoor, where they're using the hoses a lot. So they needed something that was more IP66 rated. And so it's a setup where an employee, in the event that something happens, in the event of an emergency, or where they need everything to just shut down, they can press that button. It will play a message over these loud horns. And we used this one because it was a very long area. So they used one of these with two horns bidirectionally placed. And they tied in an auxiliary outdoor strobe, and they wanted the outdoor one, again, for protection from the elements. So when someone pressed that button, it played a message, and while that message was being played, this was blinking. And depending on what was happening, you can program these strobes, the SIP version, to blink different colors. This was set up in terms of an emergency situation. So I'm showing green, but it was really blinking red. And then there's an outdoor version too. So this is a SIP device that would register right on the network. So you have a couple of different options, but this was set up, again, pushing, they're wanting to push regular announcements about safety and face coverings and distance to the workers. They do that through the paging server. But then with this call button, it's a set message, and usually that's in case of an emergency. Intercoms and access control. So the device can register on the network, but in this scenario, we had a customer that they had an access control system, and that was working fine. It was devices with RFID, that was working fine for their employees. But they needed something that would alert them if a visitor came to the door. And this year, there's less employees on site. And so having that device where someone could just press the button, it rings to the phone. There's only a few of us here, so I don't see who's coming up to the front door, okay? So if someone's pressing that and then it comes, and then I know, calls me, oh, you're at the door. I can even from here enter a DTMF code that sends a signal to the strike, which is what the customer decided to do, that would release the door and open the door for the visitor. There's some neat little features in here in terms of if someone tries to tamper with the device, it'll send a message, hey, Tamper Alert. If the door doesn't close all the way, it'll send a message back to the phone, a message saying the door is open, the door hasn't closed. So this is a situation where they already had an access control solution, but they needed something for the visitors, and we were able to show how we could tie in our intercom and a dual door strike relay into their panel and give them that overall solution that they needed. These devices can go at gates too. Again, a lot more companies are, their hours, they were cutting hours. Gates are not opened as often as they usually are. So this device, you can press it and it can operate as a hands-free door phone. You can enter a code on the keypad, or you can actually call to a preset extension. So this can be access control. So you can enter a DTMF here, so it can go into security mode, but you can also enter it in call mode and call a specific extension. Whereas this button, it will play right to one phone. It also operates as paging speaker too. So again, in that page all, if there's an emergency and you need to get a message out to everybody, this can receive a page as well as provide access control and gate entry. Available outdoors, we've got accessories to make it either flush mount or put a strobe to increase the protection. We've also got dual door strike and intermediate door strike relays. To set this up for gate or door entry, you do have to wire it to a strike, and sometimes that's a little, I'm not sure I want to do that. I'm not sure I know what I'm doing, and do I have to hire an electrician? And we want to put the client at ease, so we've got these devices that are a lot easier to set up. The intermediate one would go right at the gate or door, in between the intercom and the strike. The network version is a more secure one that is set up at the network, so it's internal. A couple of years ago, we came out with these access control endpoints, again, for smaller businesses, hair salons, the nail salons, the small little boutique shops and jewelry stores. Your employees need access and you want to make sure it's safe. And this is a great little device. There's no setup fee. There's no monthly monitoring or licensing fees. You can enter up to 500 different user codes. If someone tries to enter a code, that you blacklisted, it'll send an alert to your phone. There's a, blacklisted code alert. We've got a high level security, and they're starting now to become popular again, not in the huge enterprise arena, but more for SMB. And don't forget about these guys, because while you're talking to customers and they've got paging needs, ask them, what are you doing with your employees? How are your employees getting in and out? Especially this year, a lot has changed. Where we are on our street, it's a dead-end street. And we've got 2 manufacturing shifts now, and they're doing different hours. And so some people are coming here really, really early in the morning. And so, they come in, they want to leave the door open, but, they've got to have access controls. So if each of the employees has their own RFID or keypad access, they can get in. And if I'm here working by myself at 5 o'clock in the morning, I don't have to be worried about, or wonder if I'm hearing if someone is at the door, another employee is at the door at 5 or 6 o'clock and I just can't hear it. So these are great for SMB. Pass-through technology, these guys are really popular. They're great little splitters. The 187, we sell a ton of these. It's 1 in, 2 out. It's great to stick at your desk. You've got a VoIP phone and your computer, and you don't have to worry about all these other, cables and splitter. We've got one that's PoE powered, and then we've got one that's PC powered. So it's got to get your power from the PC. And then we've got the port mirroring versions of both. And what they do is allow you to monitor the traffic for diagnostic purposes. So it tells you which devices are attached, you know, and making sure that those devices are healthy. Everything that we've just gone over in terms of the paging and notification devices and intercoms, you should know that they are also available as Informacast. And Informacast is very, very popular. We've been working with the single wire folks for at least 10 years, maybe even longer. Great group of people. Like I said, they gave us the award for 2019 and 2020 for that IP66 horn. So great group. We also do this for folks that are using SA Announce, which is a proprietary protocol that Synapse makes. And we make devices that are, you know, that can work in that environment as well. So on our webpage, when you go to products, you're going to see SIP, you'll see Informacast, you're also going to see Synapse. And then we've got the industrial VoIP phones for very harsh environments. And this other line of devices, these are Cisco prison phone cases, which have also sadly become very popular this year once COVID hit. Everybody started wanting to go to more video communications. So in courts, in prisons, local jails, but also the VA. They're looking at these for some of their hospitals, for patients that require a little bit more monitoring. So it's the New York Department of Health, shortly after COVID hit, they contacted us and ordered these, the Rocky Mountain Police. So yeah, it's a new line for us. And honestly, it was one that we were thinking of retiring, and then COVID hit. So it's weird what COVID has done. It's kind of changed everything this year. Additional offerings, you all should know that we have free design services for your resellers. For if you've got a client on the phone and you need help, we'll get on the phone with you. If it's a really large opportunity and they're just overwhelmed and they may have floor plans and it's like, I don't know what I'm doing, we can do that for you. We've got a team that can sit there and look at those floor plans and make recommendations. We get an understanding of what the customer or client, excuse me, has in terms of their network and make the best recommendation. So, and then we don't provide any kind of pricing except MSRP, but we will provide a bill of materials back. We can provide wiring diagrams, PBX interop configuration guides. So we really try to consult with the client and then provide them with this full package. And I can tell you that design services has become very popular in the last year and a half. We are still reaping the benefits of one design services opportunity that we had, and that was a 7-figure opportunity. It's still ongoing. We brought in an integrator, so they've been part of this, and the end user is the government. And it has been it's been a great opportunity and a lucrative opportunity for it. And it started with design services, and it was just being a consultant on the phone with the client. So know that that's what we're here for. The average one, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. How many of those do you want? I'm sure that there are a lot of you that would like a hell of a lot of those. So it's a great service and it's free, and I urge you all to take advantage of it. We've got a real a department full of pros, and our thing is to make sure that we're providing the customer what they need, and we have an understanding of what their needs are. And it's not just a one and done for us, because what we found is it doesn't work like that. They do come back and they will order more, and or people move on to other other opportunities. So please know that this is available for you guys. We also offer configuration support services. So if you have customers where it's like, this is just too new, I don't know what I'm doing, it's web-based configuration. It can be a little overwhelming. We can get on the phone and go step by step with them. Difference between live technical support and configuration support services. First up, you should know, we offer live support. If you call, you're going to get to talk to somebody Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 California time. And we pride ourselves on that. You can also chat with us, open up a ticket. We communicate via email, but you can call us and we're going to get on the phone. You have questions, we will answer those questions. Then you have a situation where you got a customer who's like, no, I need you. I want you on the phone walking me through and checking or deselecting every box that I'm supposed to check or not check. We can do that as well. That's a paid service, and we have done them. Our team is really great. We can usually get them done in well under an hour. We're not there to help in terms of doing a whole network thing. So if there are problems with the network, we may not be able to help you there. But it's a service that is offered to your clients. You know, you can just email us, make a resume. They can email us, make a reservation, and they take it from there. I wouldn't want you guys to forget about the accessories, because a lot of times people do, and then we know this because then they come and they order at MSRP from our website, which, you know, it's nice, but they're doing that because they forgot to order it through the reseller. So remember that. It's just an extra way, you know, you need to mount these on the wall. You need a clock kit. You want to mount them in the ceiling. Hey, do you want an extra shroud for that intercom? Don't forget these guys. It's just added money. Just the traditional markets for CyberData have always been schools and universities, but also manufacturing and warehouse. SMB, we speak SMB language. We're an SMB. So, and also government and retail, just because of our history in that segment. But what we started to see this year is a little bit different. Anything having to do with getting food to our table or medical attention in some way, that's where we're seeing a lot of activity. So meat packing, poultry processing, agriculture, wineries, dairies, and then also the nursing care facilities and hospitals, medical clinics. These are the new marketing trends that we're seeing now. For meat packing and food processing, this was a situation where a loud announcement tied in with strobes. We actually did it for meat packing first and then wound up doing similar for dairy. So again, to push those safety announcements and reminders, keep your distance, make sure your mask is covering your nose and your mouth. This is based on a real case scenario. Medical clinics, offices. This little device, there's a couple of different ways that it can register. So it's an IP device. It can register on-prem or in the cloud on a VoIP system and communicates with a H.264 video phone. You can also set this device up in peer-to-peer mode so that it doesn't register on the network, it talks just directly with that video phone. And then there's a way of having it show up in your PC client. We have a free download. It's called CyberSoftphone. So a client could download that, set the video intercom up in peer-to-peer mode, and via the softphone client, when someone presses that button, it shows up right on the PC. So this is what we're starting to see, especially initially, they were scrambling, like, we need to talk to these people, but we don't want them coming in. So we just need to see them sometimes, you know, talking to them. So let's see, that's also available with keypad function, and it can be flush mounted, and there's also a shroud for added protection. We're also seeing a new use case scenario. About a year and a half ago, Anderson Regional came to us, and they were like, in their maternity ward, they were like, hey, you know, what we want to be able to do is play a message. Every time a baby is born, we want to play a message. They wanted to play a lullaby. So we showed them how to do it, and gave them the diagram, kind of helped them set it up actually. And they were really, really happy about that. It was really, really sweet. So now in this hospital, anytime a baby is born, they'll push this little lullaby over the speakers in the maternity ward. In April, we heard that Mount Sinai was doing something similar. So every time a patient was extubated and released from ICU, they were playing the Beatles' Here Comes the Sun, which I just thought, oh my God, that is just so heartwarming and sweet. And so we reached back out to Anderson and let them know. We were like, hey, Mount Sinai is doing this. You might want to do this. And they were like, oh my God, that's a great idea. So just a different use case scenario. And that's accomplished with the paging server. You're set up your speaker on your network. For the paging server, I set it up so if I enter code 10, that is to play the lullaby for a baby being born. I enter code 20, that is play Here Comes the Sun. A patient has just been extubated. So it's just some interesting things that you can do with that paging server. We like to say that we are PBX agnostic. We work with a vast majority of VoIP systems, including the SBCs and gateways, and either on-premise or in the cloud. This is just a partial list. We're constantly adding to this. We just did a Avodia MS Teams certification, and we're actually going to be doing a webinar. And that webinar is going to be on Thursday. Scout, I will make sure that I send you that link if anybody wants to it's 15 minutes. These guys work really, really fast. So they're all about doing like a TED Talk, but we're working with them and putting on this webinar that discusses our collaboration for MS Teams and Vodia. So check that out. If, again, like I said with the analog amplifiers, if you ever have a customer or a client and they've got one that's not on this list, call us. That's what my team does. They will get on the phone, they will get online, they will reach out to the company to get wiring diagrams. That's what they do. So if you go to our PBX compatibility and you've got a client that's got a network and you've never heard of it and they're not on here, give us a call. This is that page that I was telling you about. So this is if you go to connected to compatible analog amplifiers off of CyberData, this is what that page, and it goes from A to Z, and it's very, very long. So AT&T, Bogan, there's Viking, there's Valcom. We give you the model number, and then we tell you which of our devices that we've tested. If you see that little Adobe, click on that. That's going to open up a new window, and you're going to get your wiring diagram. So you can be assured it works, and here's how to set it up. If you see a clock, that means we're working on it. And if you see an X, it's wah, 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 it doesn't work, sorry. But you can look at the SIP paging adapter. That one is a workhorse. We've not actually had one that an environment that it hasn't worked in yet. So chances are we've got a device for you. So again, very happy to have 888 as our partner, our longtime partner. We only sell at MSRP on our website. So it's through our distributor partners like 888 VoIP. And we try to tell people too, we hear like, oh, I saw it on eBay or I saw it on Amazon, and I'm like, no, don't do that, don't do that. go to our authorized distributor page, check out our authorized partners. If you buy from an authorized partner, you know our devices carry the 2-year warranty. Also, if 888 doesn't have stock of an item, we can always drop ship. We'll always do that. There's no extra charge. We don't mind doing it. I'm going to be working more closely with Scout as we move forward, because we want to hear more from you guys. We want your ideas, and we're also going to be looking at maybe special programs that we can do throughout 2021. So for you guys, I want you to know that this year has been really different for CyberData. We're doing a lot of different things, and you know, so we're going to be open to doing things that we haven't done with you guys before. So be ready. I hope you find it exciting. One of the things that we're doing is we're offering reseller and installer certification, and we're in that program now. We've got a first class of resellers and installers, and we're targeting mid-December for completion. And once we're finished with those guys, we're going to be building a web page for them and promoting them and sharing information with them. And that's all to push more business, not just to them, but to 888, our partners. So we're looking at new things, maybe offering spiffs, things like that, which, you know, we'll talk more about next year. But I just want you to know that it's and the word gets used too much, but in an unprecedented year, it has forced us to kind of look internally and go, what are we doing maybe that hasn't worked, and what could we be doing differently? So if you have ideas, we want to hear them. If there's anything that we can do, we're really focused on providing customer service, and everyone here takes that on personally. So whatever we can do in terms of support for you guys, that's what we're here for. I want to thank you all. I'm going to leave you with this information, and I'll follow up and send this to Scout so that you know how to reach technical support, how to reach Dan or me, what our hours are. I'll also want to leave you with one last thing, to go on YouTube and go check out our channel. We're starting to do these, we call it Cyber School. I mean, we've had Cyber School here at CyberData for quite a while, and that's internally. And every Monday, I mean, we do this. Every Monday we go to Cyber School. Now we're recording them, and our interop manager, Paul, does a really great job. And they're really interesting and fun. He's got a really great way about them. So go up on our YouTube channel, because he gets more in depth in terms of the different product lines. Right now we've got 3 that are all about Informacast. And then I think we did one that's up there now is visual notification. So go ahead and check that out. Like I said, it's a little more detailed, but you might get something out of it. I would hope you'd get something out of it. And I want to thank you for your time and attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alan. We had one question that popped up asking, can your paging controllers and adapters register to an SBC for a cloud-hosted SIP PBX?
Yes. Yes. Does that answer?
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, if anyone else has any questions, feel free to type them into the chat box in your GoToWebinar toolbar, and we'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah, guys, you know, like I said, you guys should know that you can always reach out to us. If it's like, I'm not sure, call us.